Before we jump in, let's be real. This podcast contains jokes, laughter, and a whole lot of real talk. Yes, we cover serious crimes. Yes, we add a little humor, but never, and I mean never, at the expense of the victims or their families. If you're sensitive, easily offended, or the type to clutch your pearls every time someone laughs during a true crime story, this may not be the podcast for you. But if you like your true crime with a little bit of spice, a lot of honesty, and just enough petty to keep it fun, welcome to Melanin Mysteries, baby. Let's get into it. Welcome back to Melanin Mysteries, where the true crime is messy, the commentary is petty, and the suspects are usually out here doing way too much. Now, if you haven't listened to our episode on Lorenzen Wright and his lovely little ex-wife, Sherra, go ahead and press pause, because we'll wait. Because today's episode is a spinoff nobody asked for, but everybody needed. So we're diving into the twisted tale of Jimmie Martin, a man who somehow got tangled up in two murder cases like it was just another Tuesday. Not only was he knee-deep in the Lorenzen Wright drama, but before that, he had already been accused of killing his own girlfriend, Martha Jean Bownes. This episode, it's giving murder, manipulation, and the kind of mess that makes you yell at your speaker. So grab a drink, clutch your pearls, and let's get into it. I'm your host, Tiffany.
And I'm your co-host, Willie. Let's get this one going. All right, we're going to jump right into it today. Jimmie Martin was born July 7th, 1982 in Batesville, Mississippi. Unfortunately, I have no information on his parents, but we do know that Sherra Wright was his first cousin. He has a brother, Christopher, as well. Their moms were sisters. So after high school in 2000, Jimmie went ahead and went to the Navy. He was a specialty hospital corps, and he also received emergency medical training. So Jimmie Martin got an honorable discharge from the Navy in 2005, which is ironic because the only thing he's ever been good at is dishonor, bad decisions, and snitching, like it's a sport. So y'all gotta look at the previous episode. That brother was snitching. Made me proud. So he's back in town and he gets reacquainted with civilian life and he runs into a chick he grew up with. Her name was Martha Jean Bownes.
So Martha Jean Bownes was born May 14th, 1982 in Batesville, Mississippi. Her father was James Bownes. Couldn't find her mom's name anywhere. I know she did have at least two sisters, Felicia and Tamu. Don't mess that up. Tamu. Like
Tamu.
Timu, but
Timu.
Tam with like
Timu,
an
that's
A.
where you be getting your bikinis from, right?
No, I shop on Shein.
Oh,
So
my
anyway,
bad.
they grew up in Batesville as well. And she actually met Jimmie when she was 8. So they essentially knew each other growing up and they dated for 3 years in high school. And then after high school, Martha Jean, she also took the military route, but she went to the Army. Now, she did serve at least one tour of duty in Iraq. And when she fulfilled her duties as a soldier, she came home as well. And that's when she ran into Jimmie. So Martha Jean and Jimmie, they rekindled their love after the military. And it was like reheating old leftovers. I mean, sure, it's warm again, but now it's toxic spoiled and somebody may not make it out
I
alive.
don't know.
You know
Now,
how that
some leftovers,
goes.
hey, look, some leftovers good. Let's clarify that. Angela Mia's, y'all don't know nothing about that. That's a Cleveland thing. Well, East Cleveland thing. It's always better the next day. Some relationships are better the next time around. Just throwing it out there for y'all.
Almost never. That almost never works.
That's not no.
It
Look at
only worked for Ashanti and Nelly, but I do not
that's all I gotta
suggest
say.
being black.
Look at
I
that smile.
I
That boy ain't stop
do
smiling.
highly do not suggest being the black. That's a 1 in a million type of case. I love it for them, but yeah, no.
Okay.
I'd rather pick up rice one by one and count it than spin a block with one of my exes. So before someone lost their life, they were in love and all that jazz. They moved in away from their families to Memphis, Tennessee in August of 2005. Like they wasted no time. And like we said in the Lorenzen and Sherra episode, Batesville is about 85 miles from Memphis. And maybe they moved there because Jimmie knew Sherra was there. We really don't know. But anyway, things are looking good from the outside. But baby, them tides be turning and they turn quick. So
Turn.
I heard Jimmie had a hand problem and couldn't
What
keep
kind of
his hands off
wait?
Martha
He like to
Jean.
put his hands on the women's.
Yeah.
He like to
Which is
choke them.
which is wild because now his hands stay cuffed tighter than their relationship ever was. Like, just saying.
Oh shoot, this is hilarious. Okay, look, April 2006. Now they haven't been together long at all at this point, and a friend of Martha James called her father James and said, "Look, You need to get down to Memphis as soon as possible. Martha had called 911, and thankfully this operator did her job, unlike the other one who I hope lost her job. I really do, right? Because the type of operator she was, it's the type of people that be at
Horrible.
Popeyes. Just no customer service. Just don't do your job at all. None. I asked for jelly with my biscuits. So James is flying down the highway to get his baby girl. I definitely understand that. And when he gets there, Martha's outside with Memphis PD. So Martha said that Jimmie had broken her car window when he tried to hit her with a hammer. Yeah, so he definitely got a hand problem. So Martha did have visual injuries to corroborate her story. James was like, absolutely not, and put Martha in the car and drove her straight to Batesville because he was not about to have nobody putting his hands on his baby. Nobody puts baby in the corner. So when Martha gets to Batesville, she stayed with her sister Tamu. You know what I'm saying? With his cousin with Timu. The whole time Jimmie had just blowing up her phone. And there, she's there for a week. And before he recalls Jimmie pulling up and parking on her front lawn, and Martha ends up leaving with him. Real quick side note, women and men, let's just have a discussion. Usually when the hands get put on you in a beginning relationship, that's usually pretty much how the relationship is going to be from that day forward. No, look, look, all I'm saying is, look, wait, what you mean? Okay, I'll rephrase that. Look, if a man puts his hands on you, it's a strong possibility it happened again. Same thing with women, right? That all I'm saying in the beginning. There's no justification. Okay, if you choose to say the first time, all right, I give you that, right? You know what I'm saying? Because hey, maybe the temper got out of control or whatever. But all I'm saying is 90% of the time, most likely it's gonna happen again, and you're gonna end up looking like Tina Turner did on the last scene on What's Love Got to Do with It, with the boot to the head. Just throwing it out there for you. So anyway, now according to Jimmie, it didn't even happen like that, right? It's all a lie. So Jimmie got his own explanation. So this is what Jimmie said. So that whole incident that happened, April 15, 2006, Jimmie said, now this is here what happened, right? So you already know when a brother about to lie when they start with, this is here what happened. He and his brother returned to the apartment from the gym around 1 p.m. and the apartment side window had been shattered. Jimmie asked Martha about the window. She told him that while he was gone, she had came back to the apartment and for some odd reason she couldn't get inside. Martha said that she thought Jimmie had the door locked and she tapped on the apartment glass window to get his attention, and the glass shattered. So then Jimmie removed the lock from the apartment door and took it to the maintenance office, which I don't understand why you just didn't have the maintenance office come and check it out. But you know what? Liars gotta lie, right? The employees in maintenance told him to report the broken window to police. Jimmie claims that Martha overheard the conversation and said, "Don't call the police on me." So when Jimmie came back to the apartment, he found the driver's side window of his car had been broken and that Martha was gone. He said he called the police and reported the broken car window, and the police told him to stay by his car. Jimmie said he didn't want to press charges against Martha for breaking the windows, but he called James Bownes, which is Martha's father, to talk about Martha, right? You know what I'm saying? You can't go and talk about another man, baby. Come on. He claimed that James told him that he was on his way to Memphis. Then Jimmie met her dad and Tamu at a gas station, and they followed him back to the apartment. When they got there, huh?
You called that lady Timu. I knew you was gonna mess that up. I just knew
Look,
it.
let me a real side note for all them people that was clowning me for messing up Sherra name. Don't do that. All right, don't. All right, we not about to do that. First of all, she's a murderer. She's a adulterer. She's a heathen and a Jezebel. All right,
And
so
a
we don't,
pedophile.
and a
Don't forget
pedophile.
that.
So we don't. What do we do? We don't hug killers. So yeah, I messed up her name. Right, it is what it is. Anyway, back to Tamu. They followed Jimmie back to the apartment. Now, when they got there, Martha was outside and she was talking to two police officers. The officer asked Jimmie if he wanted to press charges, and he said no. Martha left with her family. After 5 days, she called him and told him, "Look, I'm ready to come home, Daddy. I'm ready to come home." You know what I'm saying? I mean, you put your hands on me and everything like that, but you know what? I can forgive you. Jimmie said that he did not break the car window and he did not chase the victim with a hammer and that he did not see any cuts or bruises on her. So this is my thing with that. Real sad note, women and men. The minute you call the police on me, it's over. because you messing with my freedom. You know what I'm saying? I'm being honest with you. The minute you call the police, especially if it's quote unquote something you did not do, the minute you call the police, it's over. I ain't. There's nothing more you can say to me. The minute the laws get involved, right?
But hold on, let's back up. The
I call
police
the police on
already said
somebody.
that they had proof that he put his hands on her, so he lying.
That's what I'm saying. Like, no, but all I'm saying hypothetically, if he did not lie, if everything he's saying is true, well,
He a
I'm not
liar,
going
and the
back.
truth is not in him.
Not in you, brother. The truth is snitching is in him, but the truth ain't.
That part. Hmm. Okay, so it's 2006, and Martha Jean, she's working for a company called Imperial Security. So yes, she hasn't been there long, right? And they said it was like common practice for Martha and Jimmy to be arguing while she was on the clock, like not on her lunch break in her car, calling him everything but a child of God. No, sis would be at her desk on the phone hollering and would have the phone on speaker. I can't stand being around somebody that be sitting there arguing with their man. My sister used to do that all the time. We'd be in the car going somewhere and she would literally be screaming on the phone. Oh my God, they used to piss
I
me off.
don't. Yeah, I'm not arguing over no phone because I'm ignorant. I'm hanging up. I miss the days where you can really hang up on somebody and it was like effective. You know what I'm saying? We talk about the home phone where you can one of them hang ups. You can't do that with cell phones.
First
It
of
just doesn't hit
all,
hard.
I'm at the stage where I don't even argue with you. I just be like, okay, you know what? That's fine. I'll talk to you later. I don't argue with nobody but my kids these days. That's
I
it.
see. I say ignorant stuff. So you argue with me. I was like, you know what? Oh, girl was right about you. Then hang up. Give you something to think about. You know what I'm saying? That's what I do.
Yeah, I'm just not arguing with nobody. But anyway, they said one day while the two on the phone just going back and forth, back and forth. I said, I know her coworkers was aggravated. And this particular day, I guess Jimmy was with all the shits. And he pulled up on her at her job. So side note, we don't know what Jimmy actually did for work after leaving the military. I did read one article where they said, quote, a wannabe rapper and producer. But then again, I feel like sometimes when black men get in trouble, they just throw that label on them. I don't know, because I ain't see no evidence anywhere of him being a rapper or producer. But that's neither here
Oh,
nor
he did, man. UNC, yeah, he had Boochie Cap Records. You know what I'm saying? Where where they motto is we snitch to get rich. You didn't know that?
So anyway,
Dang.
Jimmy then pulled up to Martha Jean's job. So they said this man was up there banging on the window, talking about some bitch. I need to talk to you right now.
Ooh, Jesus. He used the
Oh,
B
you called me my
word.
name at work? Oh,
Mm. Like, you only call me that while we doing the nasty. You don't talk to me like that while I'm at work. How dare you? Now, Jimmy was no small dude either. He was about 6'1", 200 pounds. So this tall, light skinned man, likely looking crazy as heck, banging on the door screaming. You know, no white folks was not having that at their place of business.
mm-mm. So Martha Jean, like, she shook his like chick scared. I mean, I'd be scared if some big nigga was on my at my job pounding the door talking about some bitch beat your ass. Oh, yeah.
You said
Yeah.
shook it.
We don't need to talk. Ain't nothing for us to talk about. And she knew this man was too far short of a Happy Meal. So she ran to her boss's office, was like, look, my boyfriend outside, he gonna beat me up. So she like, can you have security escort him also? You know, security comes and they walk Jimmy out like a pending charge. And then Martha got the boot like before lunch because HR said they don't counsel couples or co-sign criminal behavior on company time, okay?
No, no, no. That's that's horrible, man. You go to them, they're like, yeah, while you in here, let's go ahead and just gather your belongings. Yeah, because we don't do the physical. We not
Mm.
down with the physical. So again, Jimmy flat out claimed the work incident never happened, right? And you know how he started his sentence? He said, no, man, no. This what happened here was that's how you know the brother was lying. So he said he went down at Imperial Security. He said occasionally, you know what I'm saying, he'll go visit Martha after work and, order to exchange cars with her. One day, Jimmy and Martha had a little argument, quote unquote, on the phone. Jimmy drove to Imperial Security to exchange cars with Martha, and she began fussing at him for not leaving gas in the car. Okay, I can get that. She then went into the office, got the keys, and threw them at him. He went to the car to leave, but she told him to come back and told him to take his stuff out of one car and put it in the other car. Jimmy said he walked into the building to get the car keys from her. Charles Woods, which was the security, told him, we can't have that up in here. Now, you know that's a brother. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because, look, the white people, they don't say that. They're like, sir, you have to leave. We're going to have that up in here.
The premises. Yeah, no, that was definitely
No,
a
no,
that
no,
was
we ain't going to have that up in here. Hey, look, that's not what we going to do. That's not what we gonna do. So he walked Jimmie outside. Jimmie said that he might have tapped on the glass a couple times, but he wasn't beating on the glass. He then denied threatening Charles Woods and said, "I just told him to put your hands on me because I'm not down with the physical. We're not doing the physical." Jimmie
Mm-hmm.
said that he did not know that Martha was planning to move out of their apartment or stay with Tracy Price. So fast forward to January 13, 2007, Memphis 911 dispatcher gets a call from none other than Jimmie himself. Now, according to Jimmie, this had what had happened was. Let me tell you, man, Jimmie's story is like this is a clear example of narcissism. Like he take no ownership for nothing. He
At
can't even
all.
admit to just one thing to say, yeah, yeah. So I did this, but he literally denies every nothing. Know what I'm saying? Like this dude is innocent among everything. So
He
look,
said he ain't did none of this, and he ain't
yeah.
going
So
out
look,
none of this.
none of it, right? So let's talk about the 13th, right? January. Remember, he get to Jimmie call 911. So, according to Jimmie, this here what happened was the day started off normal. They went to Sonic, a pet store, the bank, just running errands. They got home around 4 or 5 p.m. and Chris was on the couch asleep. After dinner, Jimmie used the computer in his brother's bedroom and Martha was watching TV in a master bedroom. Martha was on the phone, but Jimmie didn't know who she was talking to. So I guess earlier that day they had an argument, nothing major, but Jimmie don't really remember exactly what it was about. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what that has to do with anything, but this is what he said. After Jimmie was done on the computer, he went into the bedroom and watched television with Martha. They were having oral sex when they heard. So obviously it was a 68 and I owe you one, or maybe a 69 or 67, and you add two later on. I don't know. But they both were having oral sex. And I'm assuming it was with each other. Okay. The apartment front door, I apologize, hit the fireplace. So, like it pushed open. Jimmie puts his pants on and grabs his 22 from under the bed, and Martha followed behind him. So they go down the hallway into the living room. Jimmie said he looked down at the gun and noticed the safety was off. And at that very moment, he thought this would be a perfect time to show Martha how to turn the safety on the gun. Then the gun goes off. Now, this is all according to Jimmie. Martha did not fall right away, right? He asked if she was okay. She didn't respond, but then she dropped to her knees and fell over. From there, Jimmie goes and wakes up his brother, calls 911, and applies pressure to Martha's wound. You see
Okay,
that,
so
man?
I got
Jimmie can do
several
no
things to
wrong.
say about this. Hold on.
Jimmie can do
So
no
first of
wrong.
all, why y'all living with his grown ass brother? Why is y'all all roommates? I don't like that.
Okay,
Then
okay. And so I want to know about and again, I'm not trying to be no freak, but the fact that they said they were having, or when they were having, like, were they both were they
I'm not concerned. Stick to the facts here.
oh, okay, sorry
So
about that.
y'all was in the middle of getting it in, so I'm sure y'all ain't had no clothes on. So you hear
No,
your front door, your door slam open, and you guys trying to put your pants on
no, I'm
in the
walking out
dress.
naked with my gun. You
I'm
gonna see
I
all
mean,
you gonna see my parts. You gonna see
I'm
that
just
gun
saying,
also.
if you concern somebody in your house, why you putting on clothes, right? Okay, just thought.
Well, maybe he thought his brother busted in or something like that. Now
So
again,
he
I
ain't
don't know
he
why
didn't
you
just
grab a gun.
so his brother didn't hear none of this. He just on the couch sleep. He don't wake up until so the gun goes off. Brother don't hear them. The brother slept through the gunshot going off. That had to be loud if you right next to him because they live in an apartment, so it can't be big.
True, true. I got you.
Holes. So when Memphis PD arrives, the responding detective is Detective James Fitzpatrick. And the first thing he sees is Martha lying on the floor of the living room
Hold
directly
on.
in front of the apartment door. So she was on her back at a 45-degree angle, wearing a shirt, bra, pants, socks, tennis shoes, and she was frothing out the mouth. And she had a wound to her upper left side of her chest, and there was blood on her face and chest. Now, when the police arrived, Jimmie still had the gun, and of course, they went ahead and removed that from his possession, and they subdued him and Chris. So Detective Fitzgerald, he interviews Jimmie, and he says Jimmie is, like real calm or whatever. And they do a preliminary interview with Chris. Now Chris said I was sleeping, I ain't hear or see nothing. So they like, okay, nigga, you're useless. But Jimmie did mention that there have been a lot of break-ins in the area recently.
Okay, so Memphis PD started checking out the scene. Detective Fitzgerald noted that there was a live 22 round on the living room floor as well as a 22 shell casing. He explained that if the live round had been in the chamber of the gun and Jimmie had wrapped the gun to fire, the live round would have ejected, which is true. So if you have one in the chamber, you cock it back, it automatically gonna shoot that out before it inserts another bullet in there. He also noted that Jimmie claimed that they had been about to have sex, but the victim was fully clothed. And when he asked Jimmie, Jimmie claimed initially he wasn't sure where Martha was injured. So they're catching them up. You know what I'm saying? They suppose they had been having oral sex. Now, let's be, I'm not trying to be funny. For men, it's easy. We kind of just tuck our pants down a little bit, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. But for women, y'all got to kind of take it all off. So all of a sudden she got clothes on, fully clothes. Come on now. And somebody break it
With
in
shoes? With shoes?
with shoes on. Yeah, I don't know what type of, maybe they was a dry humping. I don't know. That's people into stuff like that. I don't know. So Jimmie claimed initially, like I said, he wasn't sure where she was injured. But remember, he had already said he placed pressure on the wound. But guess what, right? Oddly enough, there was no blood found on Jimmie. So think about it. If she's bleeding, you putting pressure on the wound, there will be some type of blood on you, right? I mean, some, right? I would say a lot, but let's just say hypothetically, she a slow bleeder, it would still be some type of blood, especially if you planning on the room, right? But there was nothing on it whatsoever, no blood. More things noted at the crime scene was that the apartment had one exterior door, two locks, a twist lock, and a deadbolt. Neither lock was functional. The bolt in the deadbolt had been removed, and the faceplate for the lock in the doorknob looked to have been forced or kicked in, and the faceplate was on the living room floor near Martha. So it looks like, from what they're saying, he kicked in the doorway in the 4-4, and unfortunately, Martha, she's not living no more. That's what they're, from what they're saying. It's also noted that Jimmie had a fresh and deep bite mark on his shoulder. And guess what he say happened? He's
They
saying
was
that
getting it in.
they're getting it in. And she took a bite out of crime, I guess. Right? So basically, Jimmie can do no wrong, right? So let's look. We didn't have three incidents involving Jimmie, and not one time he did anything wrong. There's a common denominator here. Wouldn't you
Mhm.
agree? All
Yes,
right,
I
just
really do. It's
all right.
Jimmy. Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So they're interviewing neighbors, and one neighbor said that on the day of the murder, they heard banging, beating, and possibly a door being kicked between 5 and 7 p.m. And then right after that, they hear a single gunshot. Interesting. So
Mm.
a few minutes after that, Jimmy and his brother Chris were sitting outside on the phone, assuming they were calling 911.
So Jimmie was arrested, but he was held on a 48-hour hold and released after. I thought it was 72 hours that they had to hold you.
That's a mental hold
How you know?
because I work in the medical field.
Man, come on.
It's
That
common
okay.
knowledge.
You ever been on the mental hold? Tiffany, you could tell me.
I tell you, but I ain't telling the whole world. So anyway, Tracy Price, who was Martha's coworker, came forward and spoke with PD after she found out Martha had been killed. Now she said that Martha had been planning to leave Jimmy for like 2 to 3 months before she was killed. And after the shooting, Jimmy actually called Tracy and told her that the shooting was an accident. So Tracy like, something ain't right. The water ain't clean. I don't even know why you calling me. So she recorded that call and turned it right over to the police. So
Mm,
another witness was a friend of Martha's. Her name was Shantae Rudd. She said that she had spoken with Martha multiple times, and Shantae described the relationship as, quote, at best a stormy relationship and that there was a history of domestic violence.
mm.
Now, Martha's gun, shirt, the spent shell casings, and the blood that they recovered from Martha were all sent to the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations. And Amy McCaster Davidson was the county chief medical examiner, and her pathology report said that a single bullet entered the left side of Martha's chest and traveled from front to back and slightly downward. The bullet fractured her second left rib and traveled through her left lung and aorta and stopped in her spine. So it did a lot of damage.
Yeah, jeez. Now, court documents gets a little fuzzy because unfortunately we couldn't find exactly when Jimmy was actually arrested and charged for the murder of Martha. But he was tried in 2009 for first degree murder. He was acquitted of first degree murder, but there was a hung jury on second degree murder. So during this time, we know Jimmy was out on bond because he was back and forth between Memphis and Batesville, being accomplice to Sherra. Ooh, killing Lorenzen. See, look at that, man. I learned, you know what I'm saying? So this dude just, I mean, obviously he ain't learned his lesson, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if he shell shot from the army, especially working in the hospital. I can only
He was not
imagine.
in the army. He was in the Navy. She was in
Yeah,
the army.
whatever. The Navy, the Army, all I'm trying to say is that he's a killer. All right? He's a killer. And some people just don't change. A killer don't change their stripes. And this is a prime example of that. And just a side note, Jimmie said that there was a lot of break-ins. Remember he said that? His defense called not a single witness who can corroborate that. So he was lying. Ain't nobody would break it in. You know what I'm saying? He kicked in that door. That's what he did.
The
So
neighbors
before,
already said they heard all this
I
commotion.
know, right?
What it
Yeah.
sounded like is he was outside the door trying to kick it in, and she was trying to leave or something, and she got scared. So that's what it really sounded like.
Yes, I agree with you, right? Yeah. So, so obviously, but y'all don't believe Jimmie lying. Jimmie wouldn't lie. Why would Jimmie lie? You know what I'm saying? Why would he lie? So before
Is
he
Jimmie
was
alive?
selling
The truth ain't in him.
that, yes, we know it. The truth ain't, but a whole snitch is, right? So before he was selling his soul to Memphis PD for immunity in two cases in a two-piece chicken dinner with fries and slaw on the side. Jimmie went to trial again in 2012, and in this trial, he was convicted of second-degree murder. No hung jury this time. He was given a sentence of 20 years.
So now we know an inmate will file an appeal so fast after a murder charge he swore the ink on the indictment was still wet. Ain't even learned his bunkmate's name yet, but he already hollering, "Run that back, judge. I'm innocent and insulted." Sir, you just got cuffed at the crime scene. So he was denied once for an appeal, but he tried again for post conviction relief April 2024. And it actually recently was reviewed by Judge Carolyn Madison on March 4th of 2025. So the basis for the post-conviction relief was ineffective counsel, and he claimed that the same attorney that was defending him during his trial was also defending Sherra during her trial at the same time. And if you
Sherra.
recall,
I'm sorry, I just wanted to say her name because I
I,
got it this time.
well,
Sorry.
if you recall, Sherra did offer to pay for some of his legal fees, and she did refer him to an attorney now. So yeah, just yeah. So then he said that his brother was called to testify in his 2009 trial, but not in his 2012 trial. Well, I mean, I ain't trying to be fair. The man was so called asleep, and he slept through. What is he? What's he testifying? What he gonna say? What is he gonna get up there and say?
Yeah, I agree. Yes.
Like, make it make sense. But anyway, now you know women. We usually petty betties, right? So Jimmie, after so many years in prison, he may be. Never mind. So anyway, Jimmie went back to that same exact firm where his original attorney was working and hired that man's colleague. So the original attorney went back and testified that he was not working on both Sherra and Jimmie cases simultaneously. But anyway, it didn't matter because the judge went ahead and denied the post conviction relief anyway.
Mm. So let's talk about good old Jimmie, right? So Jimmie is serving his time at the Turney Center Industrial Complex in Only, Tennessee. Same as Billy Ray Turner. I know Billy Ray was like, when he sounded like, I know that ain't who I think it is. Jimmie Martin is strolling through Turney like he just done got done filming a snitch flick documentary. Snitching ain't wrong unless you get caught. That's the name of it. Make sure y'all check it out. This dude in there, we talking about Billy Ray doing life, and the man who's saying like a canary got the nerve to be on my cell block. He better not be asked me to borrow any single noodles, or I ain't breaking bread with no state witnesses or no certified seat saver. Around here, snitches don't get stitches. They get skipped on Raven Night. And it's a possibility that his Gucci cap may be tampered with due to him being a snitch, because jails don't like snitches. Yeah. So there we go. That is it. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? Y'all don't get an episode of Love Lies and Alibis. You know why? Because this was a midweek drop, right? Y'all not about to mess up what we do. Oh, okay. You go ahead and say you got to say, Tiffany.
I'm just trying to. Never mind. I'm not gonna be paid today. Um. Yeah, I'm not gonna be paid today. So
Wait, no,
yeah,
back up. What I do? No, back up. What I?
what we do like you gotta do hard, like you do hard work or whatever.
What you mean? Okay, look, we
I'm
not
still waiting on a video from you. I tell you to drop one
what we
video.
not
I need
gonna
one
do.
video a month.
What we not gonna do is
Yeah,
expose the inner, you know what I'm saying, turmoil that goes on in Melanin Mystery. You know what I'm saying? All right. We
Hey,
have to
start
present a
no.
united
They gonna have
front.
them start. No, they gonna start holding you accountable. So every Friday, if y'all don't see no video, start asking Willie where the video at. Just ask him. Keep
Look,
him
y'all,
accountable.
All right, look, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I was going through some things the last couple of
Sir,
weeks, and I'm done. No,
sir,
stop.
I
No,
don't want to
stop.
hear that.
No, no,
No,
no, stop.
we've been doing this for almost a year, and you
Look,
still
let me
can't
tell
do one
y'all.
good video
I was
Friday.
going through something so serious the last week. I'm talking about I was hurt. I was in pain. I wasn't going to gym, losing weight, and I,
Okay,
Tiffany,
so
you
I'm
are
not gonna be
such
funny, but
what all of.
you talk about one Friday out of 10 months.
But that was the Friday I needed you most as a friend. You was like, "Where's the thing?" I'm like, "You do realize I'm going through something. We gonna do this every single week."
I'm just
I'm
saying
like,
we do. I
Tiffany,
mean, I just
I
be
am
fucking
going
sick,
through something right
dead,
now.
busy. Grass season done whooped my ass. I ain't slept. Everything's still on time.
Look,
But that's but
I know
that's
that. You
just
know what? And
the
you right
difference
though.
between
I'm
men
going
and
to
women.
look. You
Cause something
absolutely
happened
correct.
to us, we gotta suck it up and deal with it. Y'all fall out. Oh my god, my nose is running. I can't live.
Look, man. All right. I felt like I was about to die. But no, okay, okay, my bad. You're right. All jokes aside, y'all. Tiffany, she be on top. I every Friday you're gonna get your video. But yeah, that was our
Always on pound cable.
that was our midweek drop. I
We
definitely hope
hope
you
you
guys
enjoyed
enjoy
it.
it. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. We can do. I mean, we just real quick things. You know, we make sure you check out the episode we dropped before that, so you can kind of get the best. I mean, the actual story pertaining to Lorenzen Wright and Sherra Wright.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm done. I said it 3 times in a row. I'm good.
Lordy. So just make sure that you're following us on all socials, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, Melanin Mysteries Podcast. And I forgot on Monday's episode, of course, I forgot to shout out our BTCC group, our clique, Melanin Mayhem, A Sip of Red Rum, and Not My Brother's Keeper. We are the Black True Crime Collective. So make sure you're following us on Instagram, TikTok, and we do have a private discussion group, BTCC, on Facebook. So just make sure you're following us. Come kick it with us because we have a huge announcement coming soon, and we are so excited to make the announcement. And again, like I said, we'll be at ATL the 14th of June. Still working on them details. Yeah, we're working on it. And then July 12th in Cleveland for our 1 year anniversary. The details are on across all of our pages. So we hope to see you then. And I say the Love Lies and Alibis discussion group. The question is up. Y'all already going in, and it just dropped yesterday. So if you are over there, come join us and kick it with us and have some fun. But other than that, we will see y'all again on Monday.
No doubt. Come on, take us out.
All right, so make sure you remember that love shouldn't come with a life sentence. So make sure you choose freedom and not felonies.
Yes, sir. We out.